Hello and welcome back, everyone. Last time we finished off our lesson talking about 12-1, which is slope in general, and how we find slope between 2 points. Today what we're going to be moving on to is actually looking at the slope of a graph. But before we do, I'd like to do a little bit of a recap and actually give you a good tool to use to remember your positive, negative, zero, and undefined slopes, and how we can remember them. So today we're going to be talking about slope. Okay, remember slope is our vertical change divided by our horizontal change. Okay, so our vertical change as well can also be referred to as rise over run. And lastly, what we used last time, which we won't be using today, but it's a good tool to have, is your slope formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And remember, x2 and y2 are both 1 point, and y1 and x1 are both the ordered pair of another point. So we're looking today, we're going to be really focusing on this rise over run and what it means. And remember, rise over run can be positive, it can be negative, it can be zero, it can be undefined. And how to remember that is actually, if we're going to take a look at slope man. Okay, and to draw a slope man, we're going to start off with his eyebrows here. So we're going to draw one eyebrow that's going up, we're going to draw another eyebrow that's going down. Okay, and how we remember this is that on the left-hand side, remember, a positive slope is when you're going up from left to right. So we're going to write or draw a little plus sign right underneath. So this means positive. It's a positive slope. This side, okay, think that he's maybe winking. You can see that he has a negative sign here, so this is a negative slope. Okay, one of our other slopes that we talk about is one that is undefined, and that's a vertical line straight up and down. So we're just going to draw the nose here as undefined. Okay, and lastly, let's draw the mouth. If we draw a straight horizontal line going in either direction, remember that this is zero. Okay, so in recap for slope man, we're looking at our positive slope as our line going up and to the right, okay, and our negative slope is going down and to the right. We read from left to right. Another slope that we'll find out and we'll see today is our undefined slope, our vertical line, and lastly our zero slope, which is our horizontal line. Okay, and as we turn back to our notes, we're in section 12-2, again talking about slope, but we're really finding a slope from a graph of a line. To do this, we can simply count. Okay, this should not be a hard concept to grasp. I will try and explain it as best as I can, but when we're finding the slope of a graph of a line, we can do this by simply counting. Okay, so first step you have to do, so step 1, find 2 points on the line. Alright, so once you find your 2 points that are on the line, remember we're looking for points that cross on the grid. So we want crosshairs right here on a point. Okay, so the step 2 is to count. Now remember our vertical change and horizontal change, we're looking for rise over run. Think about what direction rises. Think about the sun that rises. It rises up. Okay, so count, we want to count up. Remember, rise doesn't have to be going up all the time. It doesn't have to be positive all the time. It's up or down. And then count. So first we did our rise. So rise is always first. Okay, run is second. So run, we're talking about left and right. Okay, remember, we're reading from left to right going across the page, so we're looking for our left to right of our run. So up is positive and right is positive. Keep that in mind when you are solving for what your slope is. Okay, so M equals the vertical change over the horizontal change. So our change going up and down is our rise. Our horizontal change is our run. And lastly, before we run into any of these examples down here, we're going to talk about 2 special cases. Now we've already talked about slope man, and remember his nose and his mouth. For a horizontal line, there's 2 things I want you to remember. Horizontal line, slope will be 0. And I'll show you here in a couple examples where you'll see that. A vertical line, slope is undefined. Okay, and it has to do with where we're dividing by 0 or 0 is being divided by another number. We'll think about our horizontal line and our vertical line. Just keep those two special cases in mind. Out of these three examples, do we have a horizontal line or a vertical line? No. So these are typical examples. We're just going to be working through what the slope is. So first things first, we got to locate our 2 points. So we've already done that for you on these graphs, but sometimes you won't be able to see them, so we'll have to pick them out ourselves. But you can see how it's right on this crosshair between this y line and this x axis. So we're looking here at this first point. And remember, we have rise over run. So let's take a look at the rise over run between these 2 points. Rise, we are going to rise 1, 2, 3 points. So I'm just going to write a 3 over here. So rise is 3. Okay, now let's take a look at the run. Are we going to go right or left? We're going to go right to meet our next point. Think about giving directions when you're driving down a street. You can only turn right or left. You can't go through a building or over a sidewalk. It's highly unrecommended. But we can take a look at our straight shots to get to each point. So we want the shortest distance between the 2 points without going diagonal. So we're going to go up 3 and over 1. So all we do is our m equals 3 over 1, or just 3. So our slope in this case is 3. Up 3 over 1. Okay, this is a positive 3, right? So how did I know beforehand that it was going to be a positive number? Good, because this is a positive slope. It's going up when we read it from left to right. Taking a look at number 2, right off the bat, is it going to be positive or negative? This is going to be a negative slope. Okay, so negative slope. Keep that in mind. If you do not get a negative slope, you did something wrong. So let's take a look. Remember, rise can go either up or down. So in this case, we're starting at this point here, and we have to go up or down. Down. We go down 2 to be in line with this other point. So we put 2 over here. Okay, and we're going to go over to the right. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So our rise, or our up and down, is negative 2, okay, because we went down. We're dividing by a 4. So when we find the slope, m equals negative 2 over 4, which is simplified to negative 1/2. Okay, again, it's a negative slope, and that's what we wanted from the beginning. Okay, last example before I set you loose on a couple others. Number 3, if we're looking here, we have our first point here, and we're going to go up or down. We're going to go up to reach the level of our next point. So we go up 2, so it's a positive 2, again, and we're going to go right 1, 2, 3. So our slope, m, equals 2 over 3. Again, it's a positive slope, and that's what we want. So there's the 3 slopes for those 3. Okay, at this point, I'd like you to pause the video if you'd like to try these last 3 examples on your own. Okay, 5 and 6 are going to be special cases. So again, if you want to pause the video, try them, and then resume it so I can show you the answers. Welcome back. So we'll check our answers now. So if we're going to skip 4 for right now. We're going to come right back to it because that's going to be a negative slope. What I really want to talk about is 5 and 6. These are 2 special cases. We're looking at 5, which is a vertical line, right? If you think back to our notes previously, what do we know about vertical lines? Okay. Vertical lines are going to be undefined. Very good. Okay, and another way how we can sort of figure this out, some of you may have actually calculated the slope between these two. So if we're looking here, we're going to be looking at m equals, now let's think about our rise. Our rise is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we're going to write 7 over, what's our run? Did we run anywhere? No, we stayed right where we were, so this is 0. Question is, can you divide by 0? No, you can't. Okay, and this is where we find an undefined slope. If you think about it, are we rising or are we falling? Okay, we are doing both at the same time. We're going up towards positive infinity and we're going down towards negative infinity at the same exact moment. There is not going to be a horizontal change, so therefore we're going to state it as vertical, undefined slope. So right from the beginning, if you see this on a test or you see this on a quiz or a worksheet, you can already state that this is going to be undefined. Okay, and just as easy, we're taking a look at number 6. This line, is it horizontal or vertical? It's horizontal. Okay, and a horizontal line, if you remember, is going to be our slope of good, slope of 0. If you wrote it out, let's think about our rise. Did we rise at all? No. So 0 over, okay, and then we went to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 0 over 5, which reduces back to 0. Okay, one way that you can sort of remember this is that if 0 is on bottom, it's undefined. Okay, if 0 is on top, the answer is 0. So 0 on top, answer 0. 0 on bottom, undefined. Think about the word undefined. Doesn't that sort of sound like under? Okay, so if 0 is under the other number, it's undefined. Okay, if 0 is on top, it's going to be the answer 0. So those are two easy ones you should look for on any quiz or test. Now back to number 4. Again, we're just taking a look here between our 2 points. All right, we're going to look at the rise over run. So this time we're going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is a negative 7 drop. So we have a negative 7 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So negative 7 over 7. So negative 7 over 7 reduces to negative 1, which that's equal to m. But let's take a look at this. Could I have used this point right here? Or what about this point? This point? Yes, I could have actually used all of these along here. We just chose these two that are farther away. If you're looking here, if we're just looking at this smaller one right here, this small triangle, we have a negative 1 and a 1. Okay, that gives us a slope of negative 1. So you could choose any point along here. It doesn't matter if you choose ones that are right next to each other. As long as they're on the crosshairs, you'll get a more concrete answer. So in conclusion, our recap of the day. If it's going up, it's positive. If the line is going down, it's negative. If it's going straight up and down at the same time, a vertical line, it's undefined. Left and right, the slope is 0. Second point, rise over run. Remember, rise is up and down. Doesn't have to be positive all the time. Run is left and right. And lastly, remember, we can just figure out our slope by counting up and down, left and right, our rise over run. This has been Mr. Korb. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this has helped you with section 12-2 of our slope unit. Please feel free to stop by and check out for more videos in the future. We'll be moving on to 12-3, looking at our functions of lines.